Hello, this is Mr. Huff, and let's do a walkthrough of the virtual assignment for assessing the home site for the affordable home in Noblesville, Indiana. So you're going to get this form, and you're going to fill it out. So start by putting your name here. You could throw a date in there as well. Let's put name and date. And that way I know who did the work. All right. First thing you're going to do on this is you're going to go to the Google machine and you're going to go to Google Maps and you're going to look for Noblesville, Indiana. We're specifically looking for 10th Street and Maple, and you're going to put a screenshot in this box here. So let's go take a look at that. When you zoom in, you'll see that Noblesville, Indiana is a suburb of Indianapolis, so it's just to the north of that. And if you zoom out some more, you'll see where we are in context. So we're over here in Dallas, and we're actually looking at a home site up here in Noblesville, Indiana. And you can see it's outlined in pink there. So as we start zooming in, you will see that there is a river here and Highway 32, actually it's Highway 38 right here going across. And then you see this large street going north and south. And if you look at that large street, that is 10th Street. And then what we're interested in is the corner of 10th and Maple, this zone right here. All right, so this is our lot right here. This is where you're going to be building. This is where we're going to put the site, okay? So you're going to get a screenshot of this area here to show me that you know how to find it, okay? So you're going to get that, drop it into your sheet here. Okay, another thing you're going to do is study the affordable home site. You're going to look at the engineering weather data for nearby Indianapolis. These are PDFs I have in this assignment. And then you can also go look at weather.gov, and you can see that there is a lot of information that the government keeps track of as far as weather. And then we are ready to take a look at the solar orientation of the site. So if you go to this website, suncalc.org, it will take you to this web page, and you're going to put Noblesville, Indiana right here. You could put 100 South 10th Street, Noblesville, Indiana, and you can zoom in on this. Where's my zoom button? It's up here in the corner. So we can see that this is indeed the site we're going to be. So if you want to move it around, you can just click on different places and it will move the solar orientation there. But really we are most interested right here where we're going to be building this house. Okay, it has this odd looking shape here. What this is showing you, imagine looking at from the top down half of a clear beach ball, and this is showing the transition of the sun through the day. So we have the house. This is north, east, south, and west, and you can see that the sun is coming from the south. And up here at the top, you'll notice there's this sliding area, so we can grab this. And look what happens. It shows that here's the sun behind the earth in the day, and then we see dawn right here, so things are starting to lighten up. We see sunrise right there. You can see the shadows forming. As you go through the day, you can see how the shadows rest on the site, and then there's about noon, and then it goes to sundown, showing that, okay? And this is, if you look, this is the date right now when I'm making this video. One of the things that's really cool about this is you can go choose other dates right here. And there's two dates in particular that I want you to go get. Okay, so I want you to, oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's go back to the right place. Okay, now let's go look at the assignment. You need to tell me about the winter solstice and the summer solstice. The winter solstice is December 21st. The summer solstice is June 22nd. So what you're going to do is find those, do a screenshot that goes from up here showing the address and the date, and all the way down to the bottom right here showing the path of the sun. Notice the difference between sunrise and sunset. So compare those two images so that you understand what's happening. Let's go talk about those two dates a little bit. The summer solstice, the reason that's important to us is this is for solar planning, and It's the shortest day of the year. It's also when the sun is the lowest on the horizon. So the south side of your home is going to get sun low on the horizon. So a lot of times to take advantage of this passively, we will make sure we have a lot of glass windows facing to the south. So through the day, the sun is shining into the southern windows. Then if you look at the summer solstice in June, it's the longest day of the year, and also it's where the sun is highest in the sky. So you want to have those south-facing windows for the wintertime, but not so much in the summertime. So a lot of times what people will do, they will add an extension or an overhang over the windows on the south side, so that when the sun is shining down high in the sky, it's hitting that overhang rather than shining right into the house and heating it up with radiation. So get those 2 screenshots from suncalc.org and put those here. The next thing we need to talk about are the extreme temperatures for the site. For this, we will need the weather data. You have this in a PDF. You can go search for it on weather.gov, but let's go to the PDF. This PDF has 18 pages of weather data. It has some summary information at the top. It has several charts throughout, and it has a lot of information broken down by month by month. The main things we probably need to look at are going to be probably on the first page or two. Okay, we have some information about Indianapolis. So it would be just like if you looked up weather data for Midlothian, you would be looking at DFW information. What is it like in Dallas? And that's what we would use for designing according to weather. Okay. So one of the things for this assignment, I want you to be very clear. So you have a lot of design values here. Be clear about which one you're choosing. You have a daily mean range, you have the extreme highs and extreme lows, okay? And then you can go and look across the wet bulb temperature and humidity ratio. You also have wind speeds and prevailing winds, okay? So be real clear about what temperatures you're going to use. In class, we discussed the different content here, and we decided that the best numbers to use for our design choices would be to look at the median of extreme highs, design value in degrees Fahrenheit, 94 degrees, and the median of extreme lows, design values in Fahrenheit, -8 degrees. So don't just put 94 and -8. Actually write it all out. The median of extreme highs, design value Fahrenheit, 94 degrees for the high, and extreme low, or median of extreme lows, -8 in degrees Fahrenheit. So be really clear, because you and I should both agree that with 18 pages of weather data, there's a lot of places to get temperatures. So be specific about the temperatures that you're using. So identify the high and low that you think is most appropriate. So from which direction do the prevailing winds come? So you need to specify which one you're using. So here you can see that we have some coincident values, means. So you look at this. Again, just like with the temperatures, be specific about where you're getting the data from. Describe it. So let's say you wanted to use according to the humidity ratio data, the prevailing winds are southwest. Okay, so just pick one of those and tell me where you got it. And you can see up here, when we have the high temperatures, we usually have west-southwest, and when we have the lowest temperatures, it's generally in the west, but that may not be the best choice. Right here, you see some more consistency, so you might use some of these values. All right, so just be real clear about which one you're using. So you might put wet bulb on the wet bulb temperature data table. We see that the prevailing direction of the winds is south and west. All right, so you would put that data in there. All right, I had a thought. So for the extreme temperatures and the direction, I want you to think about life as an architect here, and I want you to kind of explore, or in your own opinions and thoughts, why is knowing the extreme temperature for the site important, and why is knowing the direction of the prevailing winds important? So temperatures, you need to think about the kind of insulation you would need for your home. You would need to think about how can you take advantage of passive cooling and passive heating. And then for the prevailing winds, again, you could use that for passive cooling. And in the wintertime, how do you prevent the winds from being a problem, keeping the home warm and that sort of thing. So tell me why you think that understanding those is important. Okay, the next thing we need to do is look at the type of terrain that's present for the drainage. And for this, we need to look at the PDF of the site map I provided. So this is the PDF, and you will need to have this for reference. And we're going to zoom in on this. Something I want to point out on this, and it's kind of hard to read, but right here you see some numbers. You see 771 on this line, this jagged line going across. You see 770 feet on this line. You see 769, it's real hard to read, 769 feet on this line, 768 feet on this line. Let's go back and look at our weather data at the very top. It has an elevation of 807 feet. Now this is Indianapolis. What this is telling us is that where our home is placed, that's the elevation. Okay, so look at this, look at the site as a whole. So we see this area here is 770 feet. This area here is 769 feet. So from here to here, the elevation drops 1 foot. And then at this corner of the lot, we have 768 feet from here to here. So we are seeing about a 2 to 3 foot drop from the northeast corner to the southeast corner. Does that sound like a aggressive slope or a gentle slope? Look at the site. It's 140 feet this direction, 48 feet in this direction. It's 148 feet this direction. So it's a 148 foot square. And from this corner to that corner, it's dropping 3 feet. So I'll let you decide if that is an aggressive slope or a gentle slope, but that is going to have an effect on drainage. So please explain use the number set you see on the map and explain the terrain and what that means for drainage. So also think about if it rains heavily, what's going to happen in a rainstorm? Where's the water going to go? Is it going to pool on the property, or is it going to drain out into the street? So let's go look at that map again. One of the things you need to look at here is in the legend, we see that these black rectangles are storm drains. And as we talked about previously, it's higher on this corner and it slopes across this way to this corner. And you can see that there are some storm drains there. So that should help you answer that question. Next is, what are the adjacent properties? If you look at this diagram, it doesn't tell you. Normally in legal descriptions, you would describe all the properties that were north and east and south and west of the property. For the purposes of this assignment, I just want you to identify some things that are around it. Google Maps is going to be the easy place to do that. So let's go take a look at that. So here's our site here. We're at Maple Avenue and 10th Street. And if you look immediately north, we have the Noblesville City Hall, and we have the Noblesville Planning Department. So that's immediately north. So we have commercial property just north of us. Okay, well, actually, it's governmental, I guess. Also, if you look to the east, let's just go around to the east, we have residential lots here. So that's what this is saying. So we have residences to the east. If you look to the south of us, we have some sort of lot here that's not our property. So we are going to be building right here. And this is what is south of the property. We'll look at that in just a moment. Actually, if you just kind of hover over that, if you look there, it's a lovely parking lot. Okay, so we have a parking lot south of us. Across the street on the west side, we have, again, residences here. So you can see there's a home there. There's a home there. And then this would be important to understand. North and west, we have a Exxon gas station. some other things around. We also have an ATM. That's a Bitcoin ATM. There's also some things over here like this may be interesting for you later, but there's a little bistro here, and there's some other things around. So I'll let you look at that later for the assignment. But for the things that are immediately north, northwest, west, east, and south of us, you can get those from Google Maps. So describe those things here. Skip lines between the different things and be sure to specify which direction they are in relation to the property. Then you're going to think about, is there a potential for noise or sound problems? So if you go look at this map, we are not far from Highway 38 here, so that's probably going to be pretty busy, but we're a couple of blocks away, okay? So that's probably not too big of a deal. Maple Street looks like a residential street, mostly. However, 10th Street is a pretty large street. I mean, if you zoom out, you can see that 10th Street shows up as an arterial, and that means it's probably going to have a little bit more traffic than we would see on Maple Street. So a concern we may have would be traffic on this side of the street. And in the site notes, you saw some things that you could do to minimize noise. So along this part of the lot, you may want to put some plantings here. You might suggest adding a berm, which is like a little hill so that it can deflect sound from the street up into the sky. Another thing you could add might be a fence, but there are some limitations about how close you can get a fence to the street. So you might be able to add a fence in this zone here to minimize some of the noise coming into the home. We don't think Maple Street will be as much of a concern because it's not going to have as much traffic, okay? Also, you have these right here. These are alleys. All right, let's go back and look at the assignment. All right, we want to think about what are some other things about the property and its surrounding here. Save an image of your project documentation and describe your observations about the site. So mostly what I want to see here is, what do you see around the site that is important to think about for your site design, and then put a screenshot of what you see on Google Maps. So let's go do this. I'm going to go zoom in on Maple Street here, and we're going to switch to satellite view right down here. Okay, you can see that it's currently a parking lot. When this assignment was written over 10 years ago, this was an empty lot, and now it's a parking lot. But if you look, our alleyway would be right here, so immediately south of us is going to still be a parking lot. So for site design, you would probably want to put some sort of privacy fence here between your building and the parking lot here. And if you want to see an example of that, if you go immediately south, you can see that there is a residential structure here, and that's exactly what they did. If you follow this across their backyard, there is a fence that goes between their house and this parking lot. So that's important to understand. So you may want to look around at this a little bit. Think about what kind of amenities, what kind of person might want to live here. So you're talking about kind of in a residential area close to some more commercial area. It looks like there might be some pretty nearby dining opportunities. There looks like there's some shopping down the street on Maple Street, and there's also, if you get on, you could talk about how it's convenient to this major highway that runs through the town, that sort of thing. So that's what I want you to look about. Think about the sites and what kind of things are available that might be attractive to someone that's building a house. Pretend that this is a blank lot right now, and there's no parking lot here except for this one just south of you. All right, so that's what you're going to discuss on that last portion. So screenshot of what you see in Google Maps and describe what you would do with the lot, what makes it attractive, what are some problems you're going to have to deal with. All right, that is a complete walkthrough for this assignment. I know that was kind of lengthy for a video, but if you followed along and put your thoughts as we progress through this, you're done with this assignment. Save it as a PDF and turn it in. Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later.